Big week this week on Question Time. Plenty of questions, lots to go through. We talked about house prices. Have they peaked? Loyalty tax. What is it? An oxymoron. Doesn't quite sound right. Tips to make renting less stressful. Bidders, there's less of them around. Does that mean that the market's turned again with prices? And lastly, what about inner city vacancy? If you want to hear all about it, watch the full video. Is what I've seen happening around the countryside. Hopefully this will get your thought going, provoke a bit of conversation. You don't have to just stick to these topics, but obviously this is what I've seen happening around the countryside. First up, house prices. Have we seen the peak or are they going to continue to grow? What do you think? And we'll get some expert opinion on that. Loyalty tax, what is it? What does it mean? And how to avoid it. I mentioned before, perhaps you're here looking to rent your first home. How can we make that journey easy? Even if you are a seasoned renter, there's plenty of tips and tricks to make that an easier journey. Has the tide turned? Are we seeing less and less people out there as buyers? I don't know. Let's talk through that. And then lastly, let's talk about inner city rentals and vacancy rates. Something topical, and I know a lot of you on the call today are investors, and I know it's something that we get a lot of questions about. Okay, what have we seen on the auction results for the weekend? Well, it was a huge weekend again. I keep saying this, but it was the second busiest week this year for 2021. We keep eclipsing that record. You can see here there was a total of 3,725 auctions that took place over this last weekend, and a great result with just under 75% clearance rate nationally. So it's really, really strong with a massive number of auctions going on. Looking at the two key markets of Sydney and Melbourne, 73% clearance rate in Sydney, 72% in Melbourne. Melbourne saw, that was the 7th consecutive week in a row where we've had what's called a Super Saturday, more than 1,000 auctions. We had 1,644 auctions last week alone. I think that was Melbourne's second busiest week as well as the national one. And as far as Sydney went, again, strong numbers, little less than Melbourne at just under 1,400. People are a bit worried or thinking, Sydney done and cooked, simply because it was so strong over the 80% all the time. But 73.4% is a fantastic result, particularly given the number of listings that were taken to auction. So those of you that are worried about it, don't be, because that is a huge, huge number. And ordinarily we'd be singing from the rooftops. It's just that we got so used to seeing 80%, 80%, 80%, 80% that people are a little bit worried about that, but I don't think you should be. Okay, those of you that are first timers or haven't been here for a little while, I did talk through this a few weeks ago in depth. Realestate.com put out these statistics to give you a bit of an idea in terms of the depth of the market. I'll just quickly run over it. If you do want to see my discussion about this in detail, because they do it once a month. So once a month we go through in detail, and the rest I'll just skip through. Jump onto YouTube, go back a couple of weeks, and you'll see that discussion. Basically, what this does, there's three lines. The red line is 2021, the blue line is last year, and the grey line is 2019. The reason for the grey line is to give you a bit of a baseline before coronavirus was ever thought about. And this really just tracks how many transactions are we seeing nationally occurring each week. And the reason why that's really, really important is it shows what we call the depth of the market. So when you're seeing strong clearance rates, big price growth, it's important to understand, how deep is that market? Are we creating these statistics off perhaps an artificial number, only 20, 30, 40 sales, or are we creating over thousands of sales? That's why it's really relevant. And that's why sometimes you do see big swings, particularly in, say, regional areas where the housing market is small to start with. So it doesn't take a lot of transactions to move that needle one way or the other. So you can see here throughout the entire year, we've had more transactions, more sales going through than last year and 2019. To give you an idea, we had a record of 7,755 sales happen just a few weeks ago. So really, really strong number of transactions taking place in just 1 week nationally. The bulk of that was obviously in Sydney and Melbourne. Let's take a breakdown state by state. What have we seen in terms of the increase in listings compared to last year? We're up 45% nationally, driven primarily by Victoria. No surprise there, obviously, given 2020 was a corona year for Victoria as well, but pretty much corona free for most of the other states. You can see there New South Wales was strong as well at 37%. And across the board, throughout the country, we are seeing more and more sales happening than last year, which is not too surprisingly, but really just shows you that there is a really good, strong depth to the market there. So that's it. I told you to be short and sharp. That's what I've seen. Hopefully that's got some ideas going around with you guys, thinking about what maybe you could be talking about, what questions you might want to know. So if you're ready to go, drop them in the Q&A, because obviously I will try to group it by topics, but whoever's at the top of the list is obviously going to be getting our attention first. And we will try to, as best as we can, get to those who get their questions in first and make sure we answer those live for you if we can. All right. Those of you that don't know who I am, my name is James Maitland. I'm the General Manager here at Salvo. I've been doing this for more than 2 decades, and I've helped create more than 11,500 homes for people just like you on the line today. Salvo, what do we do? People often ask me. Well, we do a ton of different things. We've got a lot of different businesses going on, but ultimately everything we do is all about helping you create a home. So it doesn't matter, as I said before, where you are in that journey. We can help you along the way. So whether it be just renting a home for the first time, right through to seasoned property investors with help managing those properties, or even first home buyers, or wherever you are, or even existing homeowners just looking to refinance their mortgage or get a bit of equity out to perhaps buy an investment property. Wherever you are on that journey, anything to do with creating a home, that's what we're all about. And that is where we can add value to you and really help you through that journey.